What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Viall Files, and it's our 300th. Big applause for everyone. We did it. We made it to 300. It's gone fast. Thanks for listening, guys. I can't thank you guys enough. It's all downhill from here. Well, we got balloons at least.
Yeah, Natalie got your favorite coffee from Chicago.
She did.
And balloons.
My favorite thing about Natalie this morning is that you asked where she was going, and instead of ruining the surprise, she said she was going to go get her lip waxed. I was like 8:30
She also
a.m.
hid your keys on you this morning, which I don't know how. She hid your keys on purpose.
Why did she hide my keys?
Because she didn't want you to come, so she figured if she couldn't find them, she could call. You would call her and be like, "Hey, have you seen my keys?" And then she would know where they were.
But what do you mean she didn't want me to come? Like on time?
Because she wanted to make sure the delivery, because we were coordinating the delivery of the balloons and all this stuff, and she wanted to make
she did that on purpose. She hid my keys on purpose.
She did.
Well, because you can see, like I have a security system in my door, so you can see people go in and out.
I know we know when you were leaving.
And then I get this text from Natalie after I grab my spare keys, be like, "Oh, they're in." She told me where they were. I'm like, "Oh, she's so in tune. She's like watching me, all while getting her lip waxed."
Yeah.
Which I actually thought, I didn't even realize that's what she wasn't doing.
No,
it was a
she
good lie.
Doing all that, she was getting all this stuff.
Yeah. Also, I just thought she was getting her lip waxed, which I was told. My response was, "Oh, cool."
Yeah, that's what she said it was, and I thought it was brilliant.
But my response was that.
We're just like, yeah, cool. All right, cool, babe.
Yeah,
Let's
way
go
to
get it waxed.
Hey, whatever you gotta do. Self-care. Yeah. No shame. We're not made perfect. She's a good liar. Straight face. It's always
Does
scary.
that worry you? Yeah.
Sometimes. Yeah.
Between her accents and her ability to lie, who knows who Natalie actually is?
I found out when she talks to her family members a lot, which is great. And then sometimes she'll step outside when she talks to her sister. And I recently found out why is because her and her sister talk in like old school, like Southern voices.
Like deep Georgia.
Yeah.
Like debutantes.
They talk like a bunch, like a two, like, old.
Do an impression.
I can't. I was like, I was looking at her and I was like making dinner and I was like, who the fuck are you talking to? Are you auditioning for? I know, it was so. Anyway, what a goofy gal.
Goofy gal.
I do think she is very talented. I think she could be anything she wanted, but I probably think she could be a good actor if she wanted to. And yes, it is sometimes. I'm glad we have a lot of trust because otherwise I would be a little worried. Anyway, well, we have a great episode for you. Number 300. We thought it would be fun to keep it light and fun after some more introspective episodes. And obviously the show Sex Life has been on Netflix and very, well, I don't know how relatable it is, but very in tune with a lot of things we talk about in a very dramatized way as it relates to marriage and infidelity and fantasies and spicing things up in relationships. So we thought we'd just have a fun chat, and no better person to have that with than the very wonderful, delightful, and funny Missy Pyle. And she joins us today to just shoot the breeze on Sex Life. And it's a pretty funny episode, so I hope you guys all enjoy it. But most importantly, again, just can't thank you guys enough for being with us these 300 episodes. It is really surreal that we have done that, and so far the lights are still on. Hopefully for much longer, and hopefully we continue to grow this show. So again, always appreciate you guys' the support and all the guys things that you do in terms of voting for us and sharing it on your social media stories and telling your friends. It always means a lot when people come up to me and talk about how they tell other friends about this podcast. So sincerest thank yous to everyone listening, and hopefully 300 more to come. So thank you so much. We will be back obviously on Monday with our Ask Nicks, recapping The Bachelor next week, and many, many more to come. And with that said, let's get to Missy Pyle and Sex Life. Missy, thanks so much for coming.
Thanks, Nick.
Happy
Thanks for
300th.
having me.
I know
Thank you.
doesn't really mean anything.
I'm so
I
proud
started
of
this podcast and I
myself.
thought if I make it to 300,
Then you're going to bring Missy Pyle
I have
on.
one guest in mind, and it's Missy. No, but seriously, I've been watching you for years.
Uh-huh.
You're wonderful. Some of my Dodgeball, some of my favorite
Right.
movies. How have you been?
I've been great. Just, been in Canada. I was working on a show. Trying not to get COVID. Feeling COVID safe.
That's great.
How are you, Chrissy?
I'm great.
This is
It's like, as I just unmute myself from my coffee.
Sorry, I didn't mean to throw you the shit, but I was like, he doesn't remember. There's barely. We didn't have a conversation really.
We
were
just met.
like, hey, how's it going?
yeah.
Yeah.
Nevertheless, it's great to have you here.
Thank
At least he
you.
was nice to you. Most people get that standoffish vibe. So I like
Oh,
that you
really?
had like a nice encounter.
Great. Anything else? Should we just get it out? Am I mean to everybody?
Well, you tell me that.
God.
Life is-
I just get
All right.
insecure and in my head. That's all.
Who doesn't? I mean, we all do, right?
Yeah. I know I
Do
do.
you like to keep it on your nose? Does that make it?
well, yes.
to make it feel better? Give your nose a break.
I hide behind the mic.
Oh, I love Missy so much.
I love you too.
Well, anyway, we were talking about how we should do this episode, and then Sex Life came out, and then we wanted to
Yeah.
chitty chat about it since my audience is an audience that
Likes to.
would be drawn to a show
A show
about
like-
relationships, sex, marriage, infidelity.
And that, I feel like Sex Life, after just binging it really is like pretty normal. It's a pretty normal way that people go about life
Kinda.
in their
I think it's a
relation-
documentary.
It is a documentary. Thank you. That's true.
It's like
Docu-series.
I always get asked about the show Unreal as it relates to The Bachelor, and I
Oh,
feel
right.
like Sex Life is a dramatization documentary on life.
Yeah.
Like Unreal is about The Bachelor.
Right. Because most people, if you're a female, most women, after they are in a relationship with a guy who owns a record label, they end up with a guy who's lives in Connecticut in a mansion.
Yeah.
And then they have 2 children, and then
Still not
best
good enough.
friend. It's not good enough.
Yeah.
I mean,
As
you know,
someone who
it's,
grew up in Connecticut, I would say that's accurate.
I do think, I think obviously, once you have children with somebody, it can be
Hard.
It can be
Do you
harder.
are-
I have one child. But my child is adopted. So She did not come from my loins,
Oh, you're.
Nick. Yes, and I adopted her by myself. But
Oh, that's awesome.
yeah,
How long have you been
adopted.
How do you?
Been a mom. How long have you been
Yeah,
a
how
mom?
long
she's
been a mom?
almost 6. She's almost 6.
Oh, that's amazing.
But I just think it's amazing. I think that show is amazing.
You liked it.
Okay. I heard about it because it shoots in Toronto, and I was shooting in Toronto, and I had to wear a prosthetic in the show that I was working on. My character had a mastectomy, so they made a full piece of they made a mold of my chest, and then they cut one of them. And the woman was like, "We worked on this show called Sex Life." And I was like, "Oh, really?"
Ooh.
And they were saying, "Yeah, that because the woman who stars in it, when she's got the baby, she has a fake chest, because she's obviously lactating. And then when she's in the flashbacks, it's her own chest.
Really?
So she wears a piece."
Huh.
How about that? How about that little tidbit? Hope I don't
Did
get
you
in
guys
trouble.
notice? Did anyone else? Did we notice a difference in her chest?
I will tell you when I noticed. I think it was when. Did you watch?
Yeah.
Okay. So I think it was episode 4 or 5. I can't remember. Whenever her husband's like, "Let's go to the guy's house who's got the pool," and she takes her clothes off, you can tell they're just because they also don't really move from personal experience. And they're kind of glossy. You'll see when you take and they, because they have to do your whole chest anyway. Like you have to cover your own, and then they put it on top, so they do a whole piece. So you can tell too, her stomach is a little funny.
So it like goes around your neck?
Goes like up here and down.
So I guess since we're on the topic of prosthetics, I mean, the real big question everyone wants to know.
The big question.
The big question.
The long question on everyone's mind.
Girthy question.
Is it real, or is it a prosthetic?
I mean, I have to believe that there's no way that that's real. I mean,
but you don't know for sure.
I don't know for sure. I kind of want to say that I remember somebody saying something about it, but I don't know for sure. But when I deduce, when I use my intuition, my woman's intuition, I think that there's no way that you would just cast somebody and be like, this is going to, or be like, oh, this is going to work in this scene. Yeah, don't worry about this. Be great. I mean, for it to kind of,
because they wrote it in.
Yeah, I mean, they could have written it in because he just happened to have.
Yeah. So they released the script for the penis scene, and they were like, no, it was already there before. They put it on their Twitter, and they were like, it was already there before we even casted the guy.
Yeah, so in the script, it was like he turns around and he can't but help notice that he has, and I found this interesting, they referred it to as a huge junk.
A huge junk.
Which, do women refer to men's penis as junk? I don't know if
we might be slightly
did women
different.
write who wrote Sex Life?
It's a woman. Yeah,
it's
a
woman.
woman.
Yeah,
it's all. I think all the episodes are written by women, right? So, but
she referred to it as a junk. And so, but anyways,
junk.
that was in there, that it was extremely large. So that was a moment she wanted. But to your point, yeah, like, do you cast someone specifically based off of
junk?
I mean, or
yeah, I don't know.
The blue eyes.
The blue eyes and the hair and the like British daylight. Oh no.
Did we think he's hot? Like, is he now? He got annoying to me after a while. Like, objectively, yes. I found him to be like, clearly he's a really good looking guy, but the scenes of him being him and kind of shitty, and then the Australian accent, like, it kind of wore on me.
I mean, let's be honest. The whole show kind of wears on you. And then you think to yourself, well, they went there. I mean, the idea that it's like,
by the time it's done, you're just like, they're fingering each other again.
I mean, I have to, like, there was one episode that, a couple episodes I didn't get a chance to watch, so I just read the transcript, and it was like, he took her back to a place and she has a flashback of the restaurant where he fingered her. And I just thought, what the fuck am I reading? What am I watching?
Well, and the best part with that is in that episode, for some reason, he's like, shall we put in for a souffle? And then like starts fingering her while they're waiting on a souffle. And then they go back to the restaurant. They sit on the same couch and he's like, a souffle? Like souffle somehow becomes this like key word in their sex life. And I'm like,
maybe it's their safe word. I mean,
like, I feel like fingering doesn't happen that much in real life.
Well, the idea that like, when they go see the mom and he's in the elevator and she's like, I'm nervous. He's like, let me calm you down. You have 18 floors to go.
You're about to meet my mom. Let me finger you in an elevator.
Yeah, that wouldn't be. Well, that was the whole time. Like, I'm watching it as a guy wondering, and then Natalie, my girlfriend, like, found him to be attractive, and I was watching her watching the show, kind of was curious, and I'm thinking, in a lot of ways, I'm nothing like this guy. And I don't know if that's a good or bad thing, because a lot of it was cheesy. It is written by women, so I'm wondering, is this stuff kind of hot? This like over the top, like the subway scene where he's like, I'm dangerous, and he takes her down.
That was amazing.
Yeah. We liked that. Would we want to date a guy? To like?
Is there anyone who could get you to jump on? First of all, I heard that like those, if you touch one of those tracks, there's like 5,000 volts of electricity that will kill you. That might
Is
be
that
a lie.
true?
I don't know.
I've also
I feel like it's one of
heard
those.
that.
I feel like it's one of those. Like if you pee in a pool, it will turn blue. Wise tales. Remember that in the kid in high
Yeah,
school?
yeah.
Be
If
like,
you
well,
pee,
if you
and they'd be like, oh,
it's gonna turn blue.
yeah. Oh, look, everybody, Nick peed.
But could you imagine?
Yeah.
But think about it. Could you imagine having something that's not barricaded? I've been in New York plenty of times. I've never seen a sign that says, "This shit will fry your ass," or some
true.
version of that. And you can't imagine that someone might go down and simply just touching it at any moment, they would turn into like a cooked cockroach. Like I feel like that would be. You would want a warning
The
sign.
electricity is not on the tracks, right? It's on the thing above.
I don't know what it is. I'm just saying. Yeah,
I don't know.
In
I mean,
Boston, there are signs that say warning, like high voltage on the track.
there are. I've never seen
I
one
don't
in
know.
New York.
I feel like somebody should Google this shit.
Well, if you're not a planner, like many of us guys aren't, and you're thinking of a fun, creative gift to give a friend, then think of Cameo. Would you ever have thought during the days of Knight Rider that you could get David Hasselhoff to wish you a happy birthday? Never. And now you can, you know? And the Hoff can wish your best friend a happy birthday, or maybe roast them. Or Chris Tucker, funny comedy legend, can wish your friend a happy graduation, or congratulate them on a promotion that they got at work. Whatever the occasion, Father's Day, Mother's Day, or just a friendly boost of moral support, Cameo is here to help you connect with your favorite celebrities. Again, the list goes on from Snoop Dogg, Tony Hawk, Ice Cube, Lindsay Lohan, yours truly, Ben Higgins, and many, many more. People use Cameo for all kinds of things, shout-outs, roasts, like I said, and it's truly... I'll be honest with Cameo. When I first got on, I was just like, who's going to want to wish me a happy birthday? And I got to say, it's actually quite rewarding to get people's reactions. People seem to really enjoy getting birthday messages and just messages in general from their favorite celebrities. So think of that. If you're not sure what you should get your loved one, it's a great last-minute gift and something that is creative and out of the box. Go to Cameo.com, request a personalized video, and whichever star you choose will send you back a personalized video so you can wow the ones you love. So don't just buy a gift, make a Cameo. Go to Cameo.com.
I just think if a guy did that, I don't care how good he was at fingering. Fingering. I mean, literally, I've never in my life, in all of the movies I've ever seen, I've never seen so much as it happens in like one episode of this show.
So much fingering.
It's just such a weird word too. It just feels like you got a lot of dirt under your fingernails. I don't know. To me, it's just.
I had a history teacher who, when he was talking about the Chinese government at one period in history, and he was like, the government could finger anyone at any time, and he meant it as like accuse and imprison, but he kept saying finger as a verb.
That would be traumatizing. I feel like I don't know how you made it out of there. I don't know how the Chinese people make it out of there.
What's interesting about all that is that was
an
something
infection.
she would remember. You know, it's one of those things for it to happen and like have a good time, but that's what you think about it. That's what she was fantasizing about. So here she is married. They're letting you know her husband's awesome. You know, like they're just like, he's great. She's telling you this through her point of view.
And she's always in that white house dress. Yes. Just in that. There's never a stain on it, which is not, no parent of a baby and a toddler. And the children. And I'm sorry, just one more thing.
That's why you're here.
The kids, that baby is always in, first of all, there's no baby in there. Everyone who's watching at home should know there's no real baby in there, except for the one time they lift it up. She like everywhere she goes, she like just covers the baby, and the baby's never like, Mom. The baby's just, and her kids at home are just like, Mommy. It's children. That's not what children are like. They scream at you, they throw things at you, they hit you, they spit at you, they vomit on you. Like, anyway, just had to throw that in there. In the White House dress, that's perfectly. Anyway,
but to your point, yeah. So she has this. Do we know what I'm sure the person who wrote it, like what, other than it just being entertaining and a fun watch or a tantalizing watch, was there, and maybe not, was there a goal or a theme of the writer or a message they were trying to convey, because it kind of felt like there was at the end, especially like the end, which I hated, but was like, it was more like, fuck it, just
fuck me.
Just fuck me.
You know what?
After all that, like
After
they put
all
us through,
that.
it was. Have you watched Handmaids?
I've watched the first 3 seasons and then I couldn't.
It's a tough watch.
I was like, if I have to
It's
see
a
another
tough
woman,
watch.
Yeah, it's
be
a,
raped.
Yeah.
no, it's
or have
emotion.
her seared off. I can't.
It's torture for the audience. Was
Right,
kind of why I
right,
asked the question.
right.
There was one point in Handmaids where they even apologize in like a condescending way to the viewer, like the storyteller. Like, I know this has been hard for you, and it's just like
Right.
you wrote it, and it's very. But like in a lot of ways, much lighter, and it was a tough watch, especially if you're watching it as a couple, married or not, to just be like, do you look at your partner, and the constant question you ask yourself is this just a dramatized show, or do you have thoughts like these? Are these real insecurities and thoughts that you have, to the point where sometimes it's a little hard to watch over and over, the back and forth. She's so back and forth over and over. I love him. He's the greatest. I'll never leave him. I can't stop thinking about him. I'm not going to leave you. And then she just, at the end of all this, she just wants a quick fix. And I'm just thinking, couldn't you have just, if you were just going to cheat on him,
I mean, really, it should have happened
Right off the bat.
Yeah, like just do it.
just do it.
do
and then
it. Put
ask,
a password protect your computer. By the way, what the fuck? I'm sorry. Like, I don't know. Fuck. What was your first cat in high school?
Well, and instead of like password protecting it, the one episode where she's like, I'm going to save it under my Thanksgiving recipes. Like, okay.
Get him.
Yeah, okay.
you'll never look there.
Well, she also put it in a file.
Have
The
you
file.
have you guys ever written like?
Sorry.
It's okay.
Thanks.
Do you do like diaries? Do women write like fantasies in their diaries? Is that a thing, or is that?
I've done it.
Like an actual like, I walked in the room.
Or
I
reminiscing?
could feel the sweat going
Also,
down the
how
small of
ma-
my back.
do
I'm asking Chrissy.
do you guys reminisce about any sexual past?
100%.
You do.
100%.
Do you guys have like a top 3?
100. Yes.
Yes.
Come on. I mean, I've
How
lived
do
a
you
lot.
not?
I've lived a lot longer than you two have. I don't know about you, but
I'm
I've
gonna be 43
for
next
sure,
month.
for sure. There's definitely, yeah.
And
yeah.
are those people who are just kind of great in bed but toxic? Like, why did it end? And why did I'm just more.
Why does anything end?
Well, for a lot of different
That's why
reasons.
we're here. It's like 300.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone is in a relationship that, I mean, like, unless you die with the person, every relationship you've ever had is going to fail,
I've been saying
Or
this
it's
the whole
failed.
time.
you know?
You only have, at the most relationships you can ever have that don't end is one. That's
Right.
it.
Right.
And-
And I mean, 7 years is like, I mean, I don't know. Maybe this, and it is written by a woman. 50 Shades of Grey was written by a woman.
Yeah.
Right. So I think it's obviously lady porn because it's all about fingering. Just kidding. Sorry. I can't. That word is so. But I mean,
title "Fingering with Missy Pyle."
oh
I just also don't think that people finger that much. Like,
I don't either.
I mean, Nick's you're a guy. I don't know if that's a big deal for you, but I just feel like in my sex life,
What do you mean?
fingering
Like,
isn't
do
like what
I-
I'm looking forward to.
Do you mean
But,
in
like,
public though?
Do I finger because I get turned? That's like
I
suggesting
just
women
don't
give
know if
hand
it's like-
jobs for themselves.
I feel that's what I'm saying. Like, I think girls can give.
It's like,
do you wanna-
better.
do you
Like,
wanna-
guys
like-
can give themselves hand
I
jobs
think
better.
I think if you're at a table with someone and there's something sexy about, especially if you're not supposed to be, if you're with people and somebody kind of puts their hand somewhere
Yeah.
that is inappropriate. I mean, that's sexy. That's sexy for both parties.
Yeah.
If either one who's doing it, but like a full on.
Before you meet mom.
Yeah. Just not
Now
needed.
I got a question. Is it sexy always in the beginning of a relationship, or is it just sexy the first time? Like a lot of that stuff, Roadhead, Sex in Public, was things that, at least for myself, were like on a list of things that I wanted to accomplish in my early 20s, right? As a guy, you're just like, you hear about it, or maybe
Right.
you watch a movie and you're just like, oh, that would be so hot. And most of those things, in my experience, you found to be like more the novelty. And then as you get older, you're just like, I mean, it's like, should I give you head on the road? I'm like, we're like 5 minutes away from home, like,
I also feel like, and I don't know
or am
about.
I just getting boring? I don't know.
Okay, and here's the other thing. Remember when, like, he calls and he's like, do you want to watch me fuck your friends, or whatever it is? Or he said, and she's just like sitting there and of course starts just hilarious. It's so ridiculous. And everyone's masturbating her finger. Oh God, it's so much to deal with. So much. You need like 300 episodes just to unpack this show. But and then she's like, she goes to see her friend at work and is like, I watched you. And I was like, where did they set the phone up so that they could watch the whole thing? Who's just gonna fuck in the doorway? And what woman can have an orgasm that fast in a door? I mean, you kind of, for me, that's the same thing about like, why are we gonna fuck in the car or have it? Like, I'd like to go to a bed and get my body into the position where I know it'll feel good.
Yeah.
Like if we do that, like we're in the pool, like there's water and it's just confusing. People don't. Maybe if you've been, I don't know, watching porn, I don't know, maybe, I don't know how you come that quickly or any. Did they not move around? They just stood there in the door for. I just couldn't believe this. I couldn't believe it.
Okay, so it's
And
Saturday.
then I was excited to watch the next episode.
Well, because it's like we came in so hot with this show, like
Right.
Pilot episode, already so much is happening, so it's like they had to like keep building
I
to
know.
keep you hooked in. That was what,
Right?
episode 4?
Yeah,
It's like that was not the finale. That was
No.
halfway through.
that would be
But to
most
Nick's
people's
point-
season 2 finale.
Yeah. But to Nick's point, those things that you get excited about, you want to check them off your list when you're young. Then I feel like once you get into a new relationship, it's kind of like the checklist starts over again, no?
I don't know. That's
like-
my question. I don't.
Like, I feel like when you get into a new relationship, you want to test the boundaries to see how far you can go. Will they fuck me in an elevator? Will they touch me under a table? Like, I feel like those things come up again because you want to try and figure out like where the boundaries are in that new relationship.
well, that's as a guy, I'm not so sure, but I'm wondering for women, is
Well,
that
it
the
kinda
case? Do you want to
depends.
like?
Well, if you're
Face
not
certain
maybe
death
you're
in the
not
subway, I
5
don't know.
minutes. Oh, the death in the subway. But if you're not 5 minutes from the hotel, like maybe the car is where you can get some privacy.
Yeah.
You don't know. And maybe if it's not even, and maybe it's just like a.
Well, it's also weird. One of those things. I had, the alleyway sex once. Like after, I don't know what you call it, but it was sex in an alley after bar time. And
Right.
It
I
was.
think that's the technical
It was
term.
kind of cool in a situation where we were hanging out for a while and we were friends and we went out and like we didn't know where to go and it just kind of happened. I guess it was hot, but the sex itself, when you think about it, is never as good.
No.
And so it's really just about where it's all about the situation and none of it is about the sex. Like Roadhead, it's objectively not that good.
First of
But
all,
like you're like
I
I'm
don't
gonna-
really know because I've never.
the dashboard in the middle, it's and then you're as a driver. I don't find it to be particularly enjoying.
There was a guy and a girl that I went to high school with, and he like really wanted to, try it. And so it spread like wildfire, this story of what happened, because she was like, great, I'm going to give him Roadhead. It's going to be great.
Oh my
and then he
God.
tapped the brakes. Her gag reflex was triggered and she yacked all over the front seat.
Yeah.
Like, it's
better than-
dangerous.
I look at it as a challenge. Can I get them to
Could
pull
be.
over or not?
But there you go. It's the
Or run into something and then
It's the challenge.
you get a concussion and they have a.
Yeah.
Problem.
But it's like, look how we got that concussion. That was fun. No, I'm just kidding.
God.
Now, one thing I do like about the show that I do think is realistic, and I think it's probably what the show touches on the most, is if you have the fantasy, the dream, the marriage, and when I mean fantasy, I don't mean the getting fingered and remembering the Australian guy who has like a $20 million penthouse. Like, right, that place he has in New York.
It was crazy.
Like,
At least.
it's like
Maybe 20 million in the 90s.
Yes, it
very
was
fancy.
ridiculous. But her marriage was picturesque, as you said. Like the white picket fences, and he's good looking.
A closet full of white house
Yeah,
dresses.
he's great. In a marriage that lasts forever or 7 years, life can get stale.
Right.
And it is okay to know your partner has fantasies. Like if you're married and you caught, your wife, if she was hiding her stories underneath the cookbook,
Uh-huh.
is that cheating? Is knowing too much a bad thing? Like if you were inside your partner's head and having them think about things, do you want to know? Because that's really what the show kind of touches on, is like how much
Right.
is too much knowledge, and how does that affect your relationship?
Well, why don't they just be in an ethically non-monogamous relationship?
That's like open, like
E&M. I mean, not ethically non-monogamous. Yeah, like, I mean, I don't know. To me, I mean, then you have no show, I guess, because you have the jealousy and the this and the that.
but minus the show. But people in a marriage, you check people out whether you admit it or not. You might fantasize
100%.
about someone. You might.
Well, I have a friend who's very, very honest with her partner. She's like, I had a dream about someone last night. And she'll like even cry and be like, oh my. And he's like, I love that you told me that. And then they'll have sex. I mean, they're,
I'm kind of into that.
yeah, like they're so honest with each other. They tell each other. I think, and to me, I actually think that is the only way to keep a relationship, is to continually be completely like radically honest with where you are and what, and I think you can get through anything if you are radically honest. But I think there always comes a point, at least for me in a relationship, where you try it and then it's like there's a, you can kind of, the drain is clogged and then you can fix it and whatever. And then everything's fine again. But then one thing happens, you can never get that drain unclogged, Nick, friends. And then it just starts to build up and build up and build up. And then you kind of find yourself jumping ship or,
Yeah, but I feel like when I grew up, I idolized my parents and their marriage, and it was very
Right.
traditional and very Catholic, and it was
Mm-hmm.
picturesque. And I think whether it's your parents or anyone else or society's point of view, you don't describe like true love in a rom-com of like, once in a while, I will tell my partner about a fantasy I had about someone else, and we will channel that energy of jealousy into like great sex.
right.
And that's never talked about. So if you do
because
that
rom-coms end at the hookup,
at the hookup,
first kiss,
and you just happily ever after,
Yeah.
and that's not the case. But in reality, I think that's a normal occurrence with every relationship. The only difference is most people don't talk about it. And if
Right.
it does come up, if you do have the dream, or you were to find your husband or wife's your journal or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
most people I think would be at best offended, and at worst like, we need like, are we gonna make it? I never imagined I don't have eyes for anyone else kind of mantra.
Right.
And it's kind of a weird lie I think we kind of tell ourselves and what we think marriage should be.
yeah, I mean, 100%.
But like, yeah, and that's kind of like,
But-
I think that's the drain you kind of mentioned, where it's just like, I think we have a hard time going, because like once you accept that reality, it's just like, oh my God, if you think about what you think about,
Mm-hmm.
just assume your partner at a minimum has the same type of thoughts.
Of course. And there's also like shame is the master emotion,
Yes.
right? So it's that darkness. And we're all like, if we're all a big circle, like your light and your dark, there's just depending on when, like where you are in the day, where you are in your life, like you have light and you have shadow and you kind of want to hide it, and it's sort of like, we all have it. I mean, that's why there's porn. That's why there's that's why there's shows like that. I mean, everybody is, and humans are not necessarily, we're not monogamous beings. Most animals aren't. So it's like we're constantly denying this large part of ourselves to try to be something that we're not.
But how do we control that though?
I don't know. I think you got to be like what you just said. Just like be honest. You can't. You can control it. You can you know, you can just be honest about it. You can meditate. You can.
Should we try to normalize just telling your partner, like, I'm not going to, but like the idea of having sex with that person turns me on?
I kind of think so. Or I don't know. And on the other side of it is I mean, there's a ton of. Like I worked with someone who's on this website called Field, which is
What's
like
that?
it's FEEL Field, like playing the field. You can have a fake name and you can. There are people who are they're in relationships and they play alone or with a partner. I mean, it's kind of a open.
Is it just the conversations, or do they get physical?
It's whatever they want.
Whatever they want.
It's a dating site. It's like, you know, it's
For
like a Tinder.
specifically people in relationships?
No, it's for anybody, but it is open to people who are in, you know, ethically non-monogamous relationships, or who like, I mean, you can be like, what are you into? And it can be, you know, anything. It could be,
One of the largest open-minded communities online.
Sounds like it's like kink friendly.
it's totally kink friendly. And I had to Google all these things. I didn't know what ENM was or GGG or.
What is E&M?
Ethically non-monogamous.
Okay.
And then like BDSM, I don't know, but dominant, submissive,
Yeah, like
all
doms and subs.
Doms. Do you like group sex? Do you want to play with singles or couples or threesomes or swap or whatever? I mean, it is a real like a real community.
What was
there's
her
that.
husband's name?
What, like Connor or
Cooper.
something?
Did we? Oh,
Cooper.
Cooper. Did we like Cooper? Who did we like more, Cooper or what was?
What do you
Wait.
mean by like?
Brad.
Brad?
There-
Brad.
yeah,
Yes.
I mean-
well, who? Yeah. No. Who did you like more? If you, there are two standing
Cooper
there.
was whiny. He was a little whiny baby.
Oh, you have to pick.
Yeah, you have to pick.
or don't come home at all. Like, shut the fuck up, Cooper Connolly. Go out with Francesca and have a nice night.
Oh my god!
Wait, you found him whiny.
The husband?
I found him one.
What is he supposed to do?
Yeah.
I don't.
I don't know. I thought he was fine. I mean, they're both sort of two-dimensional characters. They're not.
Yeah.
They're not really.
But just like not
the
specific.
fact that he goes to dinner and like locks her. The other guy goes to dinner with, you know, and they have that crazy dinner, and then she's in the chair just going. I mean, it's so ridiculous. She can't even like keep herself, and then she runs to the bathroom. He follows her and locks her in there. I just.
Oh yeah, if you the foursome dinner,
Yeah.
what did you like? That was just dumb. Like what was
agree.
what were like? I guess it was just for a movie. But
And Sasha said it best. She was like, "You want to regain your husband's trust by having us lie to him and like
Yeah.
say that we've been dating since Paris." Like she's
Maybe-
like, "None of this makes sense."
Maybe the show should be called Sasha Said It Best.
Sasha said it
instead of.
but like yeah, that's the thing. Is she supposed to be the hero or the villain?
Who? Sasha?
The protagonist?
Yeah, the main
Oh.
character.
What is her name?
Billy.
Billy. Is Billy
Billy.
supposed to be a hero or a villain? Because I found her to be
Aren't we
a villain.
all both a hero and a villain in our own story?
Yeah, but I didn't find her to be a hero at all, especially the ending.
But if you remember one of the first scenes where her son gets the butterfly and then she's like, you have to let it out because it's going to die in there. I feel like
That was like a
I
metaphor
agree.
for the whole season.
Yeah, I think that was
shit.
and like this film school coming out, but the fact
I'm
that she's always in that
seriously-
like white outfit when she's at home, it's like there's a way that that's a prison to her. So I think the idea is that like a lot of her behavior is like objectively shitty, but that maybe you can empathize and understand why this environment is creating those urges.
So it's just the establishment of marriage in general.
Good
what,
question.
I don't like what is the she's
Have you ever been married?
I have not. But I am a cynic in the sense that what I did like again, like what I liked about the show is that I think it approaches it, I mean, very unrealistically, but realistic in the sense that like it is not all. I mean, it's hard to keep the fire going. I mean, it's for I
Right.
always feel like when people call in, I'm just like I don't, like want to marry them, and it's just remember forever's a really long time. So like, just make sure you really want to,
And literally, like, I mean, I reiterate. First of all, I love that. That was perfect. The metaphor of the butterfly. I don't even know what to say. That's so nice. But I again, like, it is so true. Like, marriage is so much work. It requires both people to constantly be checking in with each other about like, where are you at? What do do we need to make you feel like you are blossoming in your life? Blossoming isn't great, but you know what I mean? Like, how are you feeling good? How do we both feel good together and separately? And how do we keep each other, feeling great or trying to?
Yeah. Have you ever you've been married?
I've been married a couple times. Yeah.
Oh. And how'd that?
I moved to Montana. I married a guy who had a grizzly bear sanctuary, and I bought a geodome in Montana.
What are things that you, if anything, maybe nothing, wish you would have done differently?
I wish I wouldn't have married a man with a grizzly bear sanctuary.
Yeah.
Just kidding. Not kidding. I think I knew both times that there was a fracture in it. And
before going in, looking back.
Before getting married, yeah. I knew there were both relationships were fractured.
Did you think that after it ended with the benefit of hindsight, or you consciously remember being aware of the fracture?
I was aware of the fracture both times. And the second time I really wanted a family. I want to have kids. Like when I got into my 30s, I was like, oh my God, I really want to have kids. I want to, and that person like seemed like really the right person. But there were so many red flag clue phone things that I just chose to ignore because I had this idea of who he was, and the sex was really good. And, and then the first person, like we had a big fight, but I was so in love with him, my first husband. I was so in love, like just hook, line, and fucking sinker in love with him that I thought, well, we can work through anything. Even though we'd had this like big fracture about a year in, and then we got married at like 3.5 years. And at that point I knew, I was like, what am I doing? Why am I marrying him? Yeah. But I did it anyway. I mean, I was also a lot younger.
How old were you?
I was 27 when I married the first time.
I'm the only reason I'm not married and divorced is dumb luck, in the sense that like, yeah, it just, thankfully it got bad fast enough, but there's a world or another like butterfly effect or sliding doors of where I would have like gotten married, and I would 100% for the very reasons that you mentioned, where I remember just trying, like what I told myself is I just know I'm crazy about her and we're in love. So like these issues that we have we'll figure it out. Love is enough.
Love is enough.
Yes.
All you need is love. Love conquers everything. And it's like, well, narcissism and your own bullshit, your past, there's a lot of stuff in there. We all come at it from our different perspectives.
Yeah. Do you think anyone in the show was a narcissist? Billy or Brad or no? Cooper wasn't. Cooper was.
You like Cooper? Cooper,
He's a little I find him irritating sometimes. A little tightly wound, sure, but I mean, they told us he's a righteous, kind of fairly good guy. I mean, he was a little too much sometimes.
I just feel like he was a little cookie cutter.
But they deliberately did that,
right? And do we know people like Cooper?
Oh my God, yes. The world's full of them.
One of the best parts of the show was when they show at the beginning, they showed like a montage of all the hot sex she was having. And then they went back and they showed like all the like shitty fights that she was having with those same guys and all the ways that they were being shitty. Like, I think it did a good job of at least painting that, like, yes, it's easy to glamorize this like lustful, fun, sexy shit. But it's also like the moments before and after sometimes fucking suck.
Yeah.
Oh, totally. Yeah. I think that's what that's the thing. When I was thinking about that, great sex with past relationships, but I don't go back and go, oh, I miss having sex with her. I don't. And that's not a criticism to anyone I've been with where I've had, like, especially girlfriends. And maybe if it was like a hookup.
Not one person.
No. The only time that ever existed, it was because it was my first girlfriend. My first girlfriend really kind of framed my, I guess, sexual appetite, or even just, I think a lot of my people think I have a certain physical type, and it's not too far off what I remember, like my first girlfriend. I don't know if that's coincidence or she shaped that. I don't know. But my second girlfriend, I was with my first girlfriend off and on for 7 years. It's all I knew. And I was in my early 20s. And so in my second girlfriend I went from that relationship to the second one, like in a day, right? I met her and like, she was my excuse to finally leave the first one.
Ship,
yeah.
Right.
And so, it would get in my head, and I was struggling with just finally being with someone different. But other than that, no. Especially someone I dated, because someone I dated, I had regular sex with.
But you're in a relationship right now.
Yeah.
And I don't want to, you seem very happy.
Yeah.
So I wonder, like, when you have not been have you not been in a relationship?
This is my first real relationship in 10 years.
So before this relationship, when you were single, was there ever a time where you were like, oh, I remember this and I missed that person's sex?
Not from a girlfriend. And I wonder if it's because we had such regular sex. If there was like maybe like a hookup where it happened a couple times and it was great, and like that just ended, and it just was like, I guess I didn't get it out of my system, so to speak. Where I guess a girlfriend, it was like we had sex like a couple hundred times, and I guess I didn't miss it anymore. I don't know. Do you get to a point where you just have so much of it that you're like, if I'm gonna fantasize, it wouldn't be someone I had sex with a couple hundred times, I guess is the logic. I don't know, but I wonder for Billy it was very much different.
He also
is that a guy thing, or is
he
that
also
just
treated her so poorly, like so many times, like such horrible things. Like most relationships, when someone's horrible to you, you're kind of like, it's bad, but it's not so in your face bad. There's a little bit of like self-esteem stuff. If I was like that, I'd be kind of like, how you want to give up everything for this guy who did such terrible things to you.
My favorite part of that is they kept saying he did terrible things. And then for a couple episodes, they kept letting you think this was the terrible thing. And then it was like, nope, this wasn't the thing that actually, right? They were just like, how could you forgive him? How could you forgive him? And then they showed all these moments where he was an asshole and like, oh, this was the terrible thing. That makes sense. It's fucking terrible. And she wouldn't leave him. And you're like, oh no, it's something even worse. Like she's going to have to like get pregnant, lose the baby. And then he's going to like deliberately go to a wedding and try to hook up someone in her face. It's like, oh, that like.
And when he wants to get her back, he calls her and FaceTimes fucking her best friend. I just can't.
This actually is pretty close to my life story.
Did you write this under a pseudonym?
I wrote it. It was amazing.
Oh my God. Oh shit.
I can't even handle it. Now that Nick spelled it out that way, and now he's laughing because he knows it's true. It's fine. I'll be fine.
Like how many more
therapy
terrible
in Montana?
How many more?
Is there good
things?
therapy in Montana, or do you just kind of have to go online?
Huh? I don't know.
Is there good?
I'll call BetterHelp tomorrow.
BetterHelp.
Is that one of your sponsors? Yeah. Okay.
They are great. They're quite truly magnificent.
How do you know? Have you gone online?
I do therapy online.
You do?
Yeah.
Did you before the pandemic?
I started therapy during the pandemic.
Yeah. We all had to hop on there. Mom, it's so hard to find a therapist. I couldn't get my psychiatrist to call me back for like almost a year.
Did you get fired by your therapist?
I ghosted in a way.
I got fucking ghosted by my. Oh. But I will say the one time that I got him on the phone, he was like, "Hi, I'm in the ER." So listen, and he's like, and then they're like, "I gotta go." Like I think people were just dropping like.
Wow.
It's a tough time for people and mental health.
Yeah.
I think just that we're all still here. Give ourselves a pat on the back.
Good for us. I also didn't totally buy. It was 7 years.
I think
8.
And they reconnected, and I didn't quite get why. In reality, would it make sense that all right, so Billy and Brad have this tumultuous relationship. They finally break up. He doesn't reach out to her at all. She goes and gets married, has a couple of kids. He dates her, he hooks up with her best friend. And then Billy happens to like walk in while he's both there.
First of all, too, I mean, don't you call your friend and be like, "Hey, I'm just outside." I mean, she doesn't like just drop her kid and come into the city any old day.
Yeah. But then Brad, it's like, then he realizes he's obsessed with Billy again, but he's been thinking about her the whole time, but never called. And like,
doesn't track for me either.
and again, like there's a couple of my exes I think very fondly, well, all my exes I think fondly of, but like, you know, a couple of them are married with kids and they're amazing. But like 8 years is a long time. Like, I don't even know who they are, you know, like it's different.
He hadn't even gotten a haircut. I mean, he looked exactly
the same too, by the way.
They both do. And it's, you know, it's hard to watch, especially as an actor, because you're sort of like, I know you probably filmed both of these scenes on the same day.
Yeah, and then they actually leaned into it in the story where, you know, Billy was talking to some of her other housewife friends, and she was saying like, I have my own fantasy too, but I looked him up and he's bald and overweight, and then she like Billy rolls her eyes like, well, if I only had that problem because my guy's still gorgeous,
and he has a huge schlong.
Yeah. Also, is it too big?
Well, I'm assuming that was in a non-erect state.
Well,
so I mean, is it this? I mean,
you assume. Well, some men are
I
showers
think, yes,
and growers.
To me, okay. What?
A shower's, you've never heard of showers and growers.
I guess
Grower.
Shower grower. What does that mean?
Come on, Missy.
As a grower, when you're like George Costanza, I'm in the pool. Like,
Yeah, shrinkage,
it's very elastic. Is it? It can.
So maybe it shrinks.
It's a shifter.
Transformative.
Yes, it has a lot of potential.
Yes.
When it's like a grower has a ton of potential and should not be judged in its resting state. A grower.
Okay.
I'm sorry, a
Okay.
grower. And a
grower.
shower is this like, even its resting state, the only difference is it's either hard or not hard. It doesn't grow at all. It just kind of thing.
Yeah.
And the question with Brad is you assume he must be a shower,
Right.
because like if it was a grower,
It's
then,
like touching his knees at that point. Like, I hope it's not a grower. Like, it was
yeah, because a
huge.
grower can go 3 to 4 or 5 times its resting state size.
Nothing could. I mean, that would be
Insane.
no. I mean, for me, I feel like I like a medium large. I don't need it to be like, if it's too big, it's sort of like, well, that's just like that's a lot to deal with. And then you might need a trip to the urgent care after. I don't know.
Something that creates small discomfort but won't.
Well, I feel like also you adjust. Like if you have consistent sex with someone who, like,
So in your own way, women can be
Showers and growers.
too. Like
totally.
you
Well,
can-
like it's like elastic. Like you can, like I feel like you learn how. I also think men who have, I think any good man with a huge member is like really good about foreplay because they understand that you can't just like go in
Sure,
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't just go in there.
As long as it doesn't hit your
the,
ovary, you're fine.
what happens
That's
if it
what I
hits
say.
your ovary?
It's like a dick hitting your ovary is the equivalent to like getting kicked in the balls for a guy. It's 100% true. That's what the doctor said.
Gut pain.
Not to me, to a friend. That's the equivalent.
Anyway.
It's the equivalent to getting kicked in the balls is having a dick hit your ovary.
Don't tell my mom I'm on the show.
So they go to a swingers party.
Yes.
I was very uncomfortable with that whole scene.
I was very excited for you to see what a sex swing did.
You were comfortable.
I actually wrote in my notes, Nick finally gets to see what a sex swing does.
Have you been? You've never.
Have I
did you
said
talk
I
about
don't?
it?
I'm on
Well,
like.
there was one
unaware.
time where I ended up on someone else's hinge date, and this boy had a sex swing in his living room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
We
you
were
were
questioning what it was
with the
for.
logistics or what
that-
it would look
I guess
like.
The
that's
living
true.
room feels like that's a
A little
little
exhibitionist. A
Yeah,
little
I mean,
much.
maybe in the in the hallway.
Especially for like a
bathroom.
20-something-year-old
Also-
guy. I think that's a bit of a try-hard thing.
I don't think
If
it
you
was.
meet a guy in his 20s, he's trying to show off. I just don't know if you've reached the point in your life where you're like, I need to spice things up, and you get into sex swings. I don't know. I could be.
I've never seen one in real life.
In the flesh.
I have seen a flesh a sex we've made fun.
But I was really disturbed by the swinger party scene, and it wasn't because they were at a swinger party or whatever. It was when his buddy's wife
Yeah.
wanted
Right.
to perform oral sex on him, and Billy's literally crying, and he still goes through with it. And I've never been to a sex party. I haven't participated in a open relationship at all. But I do understand the concept of why that can be stimulating and how you can
Sure.
channel that. But like it's for me, I would think it's literally the opposite of like creating emotional pain for your partner and then getting off on that. Like it would be weird. It's attractive if she's weirdly turned on by the taboo-ness of it all, but she looked like she was suffering emotionally, and
She was
I don't think
suffering.
I could like literally. I found it to be really disturbing. Like I don't think I could be even aroused in that moment. I'm like, oh shit, you're crying. We need to go. Like this is not what I'm trying to get out of this experience. And yet I feel like they crossed a weird line there of like what couples get out of these situations. And I understand they were amateurs to a sex party, but yet he still was able to like climax while his wife was 5 feet away watching him in tears, and that seemed messed up.
But
to
don't
me.
you feel like they reached that point? I mean, they crossed the line a long time before that, and I'm not suggesting that it was fine, but I mean, she had caused him a lot of emotional pain, and perhaps being in that situation for him may have felt a little bit like, yeah, this is. I mean, I don't know that you personally would have gotten to that point where after your girlfriend was like, or your wife with your 2 children was like, oh, by the way, I still want to fuck my ex-boyfriend, and you'd be like, well, oh, and then you find, then you've gone to dinner with him and then in the bathroom and this and that and the motorcycle, and then you wouldn't find yourself there.
No, I get that, but it's one of those. It's like he finds out that his wife has these fantasies, and maybe he still loves them, and it hurts his feelings, and I get all that. It's the part where he was able to. They wrote it as he used that feeling to get off. Like he was looking at her crying and got satisfaction out of it in that moment to like justify his decision to say, he was like, I think he literally said, do it or go, like, and he gave her permission because he saw her crying. And that to me seems really fucked up and like counterintuitive to what the open relationship or these swinger parties are meant.
Yeah,
I'm not an
I think you're
expert, but
right.
it
I mean, I think
seems
you're right, but-
really not like they
It's
quite
like an eye
honest-
for an eye makes the world go blind.
Yeah.
Like if he's upset with his wife that much, like it's probably not the move to be like, I'm going to try to make her feel how I feel.
And I feel like they give open relationships or sex parties a bad rep in that scene where you're like, that is not what it's what it's intended for. Like to be like, she's crying and you're like, yep, that's what I needed to say yes. I don't know. Real fucked up.
I feel
That's
like
where I
it's-
really hated Cooper.
Well, I feel like it's like bringing toxic monogamy. Like I feel like they have a toxic monogamous situation where it's like clearly it's not working for them. It's like bringing that into a space that's like supposed to be I think that's why there's like the ethical part of ethical non-monogamy.
Yeah, I mean they were human beings in a bad situation, in a fictionalized bad situation. I mean, I can see when someone's causing you a lot of pain, the desire to cause them pain, but that's probably not from your highest self. It just is like and then I don't know. I really can't.
And I
can't
even get that,
argue.
but I don't get the getting turned on by it. To me, it turned Cooper into like a wannabe good guy who tries really hard to be a guy and probably for the most part is a good guy, but he is struggling because his wife's doing some shit, into like kind of an, you know, it's when you find out, you pull back the curtain and be like, oh shit, it's all an act. He's evil. Because to get aroused because your wife is emotionally torn up and crying seems really horrible. Or am I overthinking that? It was his ability to not because he was hurt and not because he got satisfied. Like, we all want to get even sometimes. You hurt me, I want to hurt you. We do that all the time in relationships. It's that it got him turned on that made it really almost like serial killer type of.
Well, I mean, maybe, but he wasn't at a sex party. I mean, you do kind of have to remember, like, somebody wanted. I mean, I don't know. I mean, desire in that whole, you throw that aspect in. I don't know.
It's also, I feel like it's sexy to feel powerful. And I feel like in that moment, it was like the ultimate reclamation of power because
That's true.
He was
She had
like,
taken
I'm in charge now.
She took that power from him, didn't she?
I guess.
I can't believe
I really hated Cooper and I really was mad at the writer in that moment for, like, it just seemed really toxic. And they almost, to me, it was so toxic, but they almost painted it as like, not like, of course he wants revenge. And I was just like, this dude's getting off because his wife's crying. And that was weird.
Pretty fucked up.
Yeah, it's fucked up.
Also, it was like so not clear until they had their backyard party that his coworker and the like mom friend from school were a couple. And anyway, I had no idea.
Believe that that was a little jump.
It was suddenly it was like
jumping the shark.
The work world and the moms at school world was like, oh well, great. Obviously they're a couple and they're friends now. I'm like, I didn't even know they knew each other, let alone were married.
Yeah. Also, the makeup between Cooper and his buddy like almost happened incredibly, fast. It turned real dark real fast. He beat the shit out of him. Then he tried to blackmail him, and then then
he's like, I went to HR and I removed my complaint,
and
so
then
it's fine.
Cooper gave us a monologue speech, and his buddy was like, "Water under the bridge."
Yeah,
like, okay, they really mailed it in the last couple episodes. I felt like.
Sorry about that.
Well, and then the wife goes to Billy and she's like, so apparently my husband wants to be more like your husband. So there goes my sex life. Like, thanks, Billy. Now we can't go to swinger parties anymore.
Yeah, that's a lot to put on
Billy.
Billy
Fucks up things for everybody.
It's like, oh wow.
She really her midlife crisis.
Which made the decision at the end to just ultimately cheat on her husband with Brad that much more shitty. Because she first was like, before I get what ultimately I want is just a good lay. I want this one more time. I'm going to fuck up everyone's life in my circle and then do the thing I could have done from the very beginning, which wouldn't have affected anyone but me and my husband, obviously. But no. I want to fuck up I want to be a nuclear bomb. I don't want to just be a grenade. I want to...
And you also don't see her exit. Like, you don't see her saying that she's going there, like how she ends up leaving or what she ends up telling him. All you see is him on the phone in the bathroom tracking her, but you don't know
also,
when or where she left from
the perspective of a parent. I mean, it's just like the worst parenting in the entire fucking world. I mean, there's no thought even remotely about the kids.
Well, she had that one fantasy of if she could have it with Brad after she talked with her mentor or whatever at Columbia, and she had that fantasy of her and Brad and her current 2 kids, and then apparently they had a 3rd kid because she was holding a new baby,
right?
So she was envisioning him kind of being a stepdad at some point.
I also kind of hated that scene too, the therapist thing.
She's like, you're the closest thing to a shrink I have.
And then he turned into this
she
weird kind of kinky
shrink.
guy who doesn't believe in marriage. It was just okay, so you're just going to someone hates the sanctity of marriage.
And he even said that. He's like, are you coming to me because you trust my opinion or because I don't believe in monogamy?
Yeah, which I swear the writer hated Billy.
Maybe she hates herself.
Well, the whole show is based off of a memoir also.
She is Billy.
She is Billy. Aren't we all Billy?
Well, I think that's the $1 million question for men. Are you all Billy?
Oh my God.
I don't think so.
Honestly, it's a lot.
So what is the big takeaway from Sex
Butterfly.
Life?
It's a butterfly in the cage.
Don't let it set it free.
I
don't know what the takeaway.
Don't marry.
I think it's sorry, go ahead.
Make sure that just don't marry Billy.
How do you know if you're marrying a Billy?
How do you know if you're marrying a Billy?
Well, I
Maybe
think
that's
it's
the
like
takeaway.
don't let yourself get in the cage. Like as much as it's like you can see that like her husband isn't fulfilling her and it's like sad. I think a lot of it is her not communicating that earlier and letting
Yes.
it get to such a point where like she's so depraved that she's having to have these insane fantasies.
You have to just have to communicate who you really are to the person that you're with, and make sure that they're up for that, and vice versa, right? Like
I
if
totally
it's not a
agree.
fuck yeah, then don't do it.
Missy, before we go, we like to play a fun game with our guests. It's called Do You Know Me?
Great.
We're gonna ask you.
She's like, Chrissy
Questions?
didn't tell me this.
No, Chrissy didn't tell me this.
We don't have to play.
Well, we can play. I don't know. Do I know
Fine, she's
you?
fine.
It's about you.
It's about you.
Oh, it's about
It's about
me.
you.
Okay,
It's
Bert.
fun.
it's great.
Well, I'm just gonna ask some basic questions.
Great.
Does Missy believe in this? Has Missy ever done that?
Okay.
And it's yes or no. And if you have an anecdotal story,
Mm-hmm.
you can share.
Exciting.
You don't have to share.
Thank you.
It's up to you.
Why are you laughing so hard? Oh shit.
I just love you.
Oh boy. Here we go. Love you too.
We answer first, though.
Okay, good. Oh,
well,
good.
we're gonna. Allie wanted to suggest something for the sake of efficiency and time, because we always kind of get off that we're just gonna think to ourselves and let Missy answer the question.
Oh,
Okay.
got it.
So we're not gonna guess.
Got
Well,
it.
at least not round table it.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Do you know me
Do we know me?
with
Okay,
Missy
great.
Pyle?
Oh boy. Here we go.
This is a softball one.
Oh, good. I'm terrible.
Does Missy believe in zodiac signs?
Oh, I guess like 85%.
It's like you're a woman living in Los Angeles.
Yeah. But I
What's
I
your
don't.
sign?
I'm a Scorpio.
What's that mean?
Yikes.
Yikes.
That's what it means? Yikes. Watch out.
No,
Like
I mean,
femme fatale.
Okay.
I put the tall in femme fatale. Shabang! Sorry. I'm 6 feet tall. Okay.
Question number 2. Has Missy ever shoplifted?
Yes. Yes.
You say that as if like you with pride.
When I was little, I was a shoplifter. Like
Oh.
I got caught at least 3 times. One time I came
How
home.
many times did you not get caught?
Probably 3 or 4. And then I learned about karma, and that made sense to me. And I was like, fuck. But one time it was like 2 times. One time I went to the like convenience store when my mom, and I put a bunch of stuff in my pants. And then when I went to the bathroom, it all fell out, and my mom made me go back and tell them that I stole it. And then another time I was in like a Target kind of place, and I started grabbing things. This one was like, I saw you steal that. So I just would put like, it was like a kit of like makeup. But I was from a big family too, and we didn't have any money. So
How many siblings do you have?
I was last of 5, and then there are 2 more
Really?
after that. Yeah, there's like 7. But like 10 is a lot. And not I have a stepmom for the last 2.
Still, it's still a lot.
But I haven't shoplifted in like
2 years.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
Nothing. You didn't even hear my 2-week joke, Christy. Forget. Look at Christy. She's just like, she's tuned us out. Okay, go ahead.
Question number 3. Has Missy ever had a paranormal experience?
I think so. Once, I think so, but it's pretty mild.
Could you describe it?
It's kind of boring. But my friend and I, we were doing a play, and my friend and I were running lines, and I always forgot this one part. And our other friend was sitting there, and she'd never heard us do it. And I was going back and forth, and I forgot this one line, and my friend came up out of the chair and went, "Why do you always forget that part?" And we were just like, "What?" And she was, "I don't know why I said that." And I was like, "I always forget that part." And she was like, "I don't know why I said that." And I thought, "Oh, that was
Spooky.
some spooky person."
So not only was paranormal, it was almost like a
Exorcism.
Well, she was possessed.
She was possessed. Yeah, but it wasn't that exciting. I'm sorry.
It's okay. Has Missy ever slept with a coworker?
Yes. Yes.
It's almost like you're offended. That
In fact, when I was younger, I was like, I was in the
Like,
theater.
More like, did I work with a sex partner?
Yes.
Does Missy have a side hustle? Yes. Yeah, for sure. I feel like
Band. I'm in a band, but it's a terrible side hustle.
That doesn't matter.
I don't
You're in a
make any
band?
money. I've been in many bands.
You sing? Yeah.
A little
you
bit
sing.
here or there.
You're a vocalist. Do you play an instrument?
I play a little guitar.
What's your favorite song to sing?
I wish you were dead.
But what's your favorite song to sing? No.
I wrote that. A song called I Wish You Were Dead. I Want to Fuck You Up. Damn, I Love You, Jesus. Dogs.
Does Missy have a 5-year plan? What a great question.
5-year plans. I've tried. Do you have a 5-year plan?
No. I mean, I hope I would like to have at least one kid in the next 5 years. That'd be
Oh,
a
yeah?
goal. Yeah.
Kids are so hard, but they really are. Like, I mean, it makes you a different person. You're just like, oh, okay, this makes sense.
I've always wanted to be a dad. That's the only constant I've ever remembered. Like, I've changed a lot of, like, I want to do this with my life or whatever, and a lot of things have changed, but being a dad has always been the constant. And in no way am I comparing having a dog to a kid. I understand. But, like, I recently got a dog, and I love caring. I love caring
I feel like
for him.
do you have a tattoo of your
Yeah.
new dog? I noticed
Yeah.
you have a new tattoo and it looks
Yeah.
like a dog.
It's him. But, like, I love taking care of him. And I
Mhm.
really, and it's made me really anxious.
Kids
to be
too,
a
like
father.
they're in the present and they believe in unicorns and things, and it's nice. It's really fucking nice.
Yeah.
And they remind you like of really, really, really beautiful things. So
I mean, having a dog is like, I feel like softened me in a good way. So, you know,
and then when you leave, you can just leave your kid in a crate and put a blanket over it and go out to dinner. Come home, a little water.
Parenting 101. Has Missy ever written a mechanical bull?
I had one at my second wedding. I think there's a picture of me.
Was that the bear?
Yeah, bear guy. Yeah.
Because that would have been, if you're like, no, it's the other husband. I'd been like, well, there's a theme.
Right.
going on here.
Right.
Does Missy have a record player? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of dusty, but I have one.
I use one every day.
Yeah, you do.
You use a record player every day.
What do you listen to on your record player?
I don't know. I love going to like consignment shops and finding like old records. Like I love it.
What's the one that you
But
got recently?
I have everything from Barbra Streisand to, Gavin DeGraw to country gospel to Sam Cooke. I love it. Every day I put it on.
Sam Cooke.
It's magic.
Just listen.
Missy, this has been a ton of fun.
It's been so much fun. I can't believe we got to talk about Sex Life.
Can you let my audience know what you're up to, what you are working on? Where can they find you on social? Plug away.
Oh my God. I'm at Missy Pyle, like Missy, like Mississippi, MISSIPYLE. I have a show coming out on FX called Why the Last Man, which
What's
is
that about?
fucking awesome. It's based on a graphic novel where everything with a Y chromosome dies in one day, like all mammals, all cis men, except for one cis guy and his monkey. And then the world is like, and then it's just dealing with the aftermath of that. And it comes out on September 13th. I don't come in until like episode 4, but it's pretty badass. It's really fun.
All right. Well, we'll be
Just
checking
got back
that out.
from Cañada, La Cañada. And now I'm back.
All right. Well,
Just doing some gardening.
what do you plan? I'm getting new plants
You are.
put in my house. I don't know much about plants. I just tell the gardener to put color in there. Do you have a favorite plant?
I like hydrangea lately. I have a couple. I just got an avocado tree and a lemon tree.
I want to get a lemon tree.
I have
Do you
some
recommend
lemons.
any plants for me? I want some color in the background, but are somewhat also easy to maintain.
I would go with some succulents and some, drought resistant. Los Angeles, not a lot of water
But
here.
aren't succulents mostly green?
Some of them have some really pretty colors. I'm not I'm not an arborist, just trees, right?
Yeah.
How much space do you have?
It's like I don't know, decent amount.
Are you do you have a big yard or is it a small?
It's a small. It's just the backdrop where the pool is, so it's like what I
Mm-hmm.
look out, and I want it to be colorful and green. And right now, it's
Well, right
pretty
now, like
boring.
this is the hottest time to be planting in July and August. So, then
My neighbors cut their trees down because they're putting in a pool,
Mm-hmm.
and that added a lot of color, and they kind of ruined it. So
Sorry.
now I have to do my own thing.
Sorry about that.
It's okay.
Yeah, I mean, hibiscus, hydrangea, anything with an H.
All right, I'll look into it. Missy, thank you so much for coming
Thanks,
on. It's
Nick.
been a ton of fun.
Good luck.
Thank you. Thanks, guys, for listening. Don't forget to send your questions at asknick@castme.com, cast with a K. And we will be back on Monday for episode 301. Can't thank you guys enough for sticking with us. If you're new to this show, well, we have 299 other shows you can listen to when you get bored. And hopefully we will be around for 400. Can't thank you guys enough. Thanks so much. Love you. See you on Monday. Bye. Hey guys, thanks for watching, but before you go, make sure you like, subscribe, and ring that bell so you don't miss any future videos like our Mondays Ask Nick for your favorite relationship stories and advice, and our Tuesday Bachelor recaps. See you next time.